Slick dribble sliding in. Look, on this planet, it scores of humans struggling with their identity, consistent sadness, and being left behind. Even people that feel ahead can have the other side of that spectrum and feel like they constantly have to do better and better to keep up, or feel like they don't have enough. When I think on that, all I see are these individuals wanting or needing some kind of friendship. Gaining friends is an important task no matter your current situation, and it's difficult to know when you're doing it well. Fortunately for me, when I was younger, the very first audiobook I ever listened to was Dale Carnegie's timeless book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It offers practical advice that has helped others navigate social interactions more effectively. I simped and bought it as well. Not so much because I sought the lessons the book taught to feel better about my life, but because I wanted to use it for evil. I already had a knack for persuasion and making things easier for myself, but I also am a more reserved character. And for those of us out there that feel less comfortable when people are around, and those that thrive on attention, I believe it is worth it to ourselves to understand some of these principles. Unless you plan the hermit style of your life, we have to deal with people. It is always best to prepare yourself for interactions, especially if you don't like them. One of the most crucial elements in handling people is avoiding criticism. Criticism often puts people on the defensive and usually makes them strive to justify themselves. It can hurt their sense of pride, arouse resentment, and diminish motivation. No matter how true it is, critics always play on hard mode with those that they demean. Instead of criticizing, look for ways to encourage and uplift others, particularly if you aren't always going to be interacting with that person. If you know yourself and don't have to prove yourself to another, just let them pass on out of your life. Constructive feedback should be given with empathy and should focus on specific behaviors rather than personal attributes. A dark twist could be feeling so sorry for the other person that you don't have to disgrace them with poor words. They have already destroyed themselves. You can definitely still think it though. Opposing that, appreciation is a fundamental human need. People want to feel valued and recognized for their contributions. When you show genuine appreciation, it fosters positive relationships and builds trust. This isn't about flattery, which is insincere and easily seen through. But we should be very careful to not overdo praise because we could come off as weak and that could cause us to be stepped on or over. Sincere appreciation acknowledges someone's effort or quality, which makes them feel good about themselves and their interactions with you. Of course, if you can't find something nice to say at first, keep your mouth shut about it. You don't want to make a bad interaction worse, but definitely lightly let others know their good qualities. Just try not to be weird about it if you're also attracted to said person. Now, from the book it says, to influence people, you must first understand their desires and motivations. We don't want every person we come across to be analyzed, but find a way to determine those who are worthy, and by proxy, personally avoid those with absolutely no merits. By seeing things from another's perspective, you can align your requests with their interests. This principle revolves around mutual benefit. Find ways to help others achieve their goals while also working towards your own, with the net positive of building relations and getting your way. Taking an interest in others is a surefire way to make friends. People can sense when your interest is genuine, at least most of the time. But there are ways to fake that enthusiasm, so less aware people are caught on your hook and follow you. Ask questions about their interests, listen attentively, and remember details about their lives. This shows that you value them as individuals, not just for what they can do for you. In turn, you may discover someone you can confide in yourself. A simple smile can go a long way. It conveys warmth, friendliness, and approachability. Smiling can also improve your own mood and reduce stress. It's a good universal sign of goodwill and can instantly make you more likable. For sure, practice your smile, not through dumb methods like smiling at yourself in the mirror. You should be doing that anyway. You love yourself. But start by being just slightly more attentive as you watch stuff that makes you laugh or hang with people you trust. Just practice on the smile itself. Folks, see what you do when you are having a genuine smile, because a strong smile Using the eyes draws attention like flames to an insect. Names are a significant part of our identity. Using someone's name in conversation shows respect and personal acknowledgement. It makes people feel important and valued. Make an effort to remember and correctly pronounce names and use them frequently in conversations. Or so says the book. I say that if you can manage it, after a person is hooked on you always saying their name, stop using it cold turkey and only pick key moments to say their name. They will notice and desire that name call more over time and feel even better once they finally get to hear you use it again and relate positive actions to it. Unless they mucked up and you had to call their name for that. But using their name less could just be because you're talking less. One of the most powerful realizations from the book is that people love talking about themselves and their experiences. You know this, but now you hear it confirmed again. Incredibly useful tool for our more quiet brethren, but sometimes those of us that don't know how to shut up need a time to rest their throats too. Trust it, practice it, teach it. Peers will admire you so much more if your listening skills top your talking skills. By being a good listener and encouraging others to share, you can build rapport and trust. Listen actively. Show interest through body language. Ask follow-up questions and avoid interrupting. This makes the other person feel heard and appreciated. And I've been able to get away with people loving our conversations even though I haven't really said a word. I just keep encouraging them to speak. It's wonderful, really. In the instances when you do have to talk, though, discussing topics that interest the other person is a good way to build connections. Try not to stray too far into topics that don't interest you at all, or the interaction becomes far more boring and it's much easier for you to slip. This requires paying attention to their likes and dislikes. While you engage in conversations about their passions, you create a positive and engaging dialogue that they will enjoy and remember. May seem more difficult in group settings, but try testing this with some topics the current people you're with relate to the most. The common denominator will come from what you learn about each individual and how you can combine that together in a group. Everyone wants to feel important. By acknowledging others' contributions and expressing gratitude, you can make them feel valued. This should be done sincerely, as insincerity can be easily detected and can have the opposite effect. But the people you're interacting with can set the range in which this matters. If you're speaking to someone that keeps talking and talking, it may help to give them less attention if it is trying your patience. They'll either pull back a bit or engage with someone else. Be sure to value the worth of that person towards you before discarding them, though. Major pride damage can come from using this trick incorrectly, and hurt feelings or unmet expectations will likely lead to arguments. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. You need ways to win people over to your way of thinking. I promise this won't help you make a cult or anything, but arguments can result in a winner and a loser, which can damage relations and breed resentment. Instead of arguing, look for points of agreement and build on them. When disagreements arise, address them calmly and seek a mutual beneficial solution. You have to be the one to take charge in calming the argument down. Don't focus on taking charge of the argument and winning. The goal should be de-escalation and resolution. If the other person or people in the argument are completely unreasonable, there will seemingly be no hope of reaching an amiable solution. So instead of looking for the problem head on, ask them for solutions and stand firm in having them help solve it. Anytime I have encountered truly foolish pitch battles, I defer to the one that's most upset, and then they have to calm down to come up with a solution. People are more receptive when their opinions are respected. Avoid outright stating that someone is wrong, which can be confrontational. Instead, express your viewpoint respectfully and provide evidence to support it. This fosters a more constructive dialogue. And even admitting your mistakes can be disarming and shows humility. It demonstrates integrity and can diffuse potential conflicts, but could also help the opposition beat you down. So don't give up all your faults immediately. Strategically place them and show that you're willing to learn or improve. By acknowledging your errors, you can create an environment where the others feel safe to do the same. Demonstrate that if you are in leadership for sure. For our more advanced members, starting interactions with a friendly demeanor sets a positive tone. Whether it's a negotiation, a discussion, or just a casual conversation, friendliness can open doors and make others more receptive to your ideas. And when people start agreeing with you early in the conversation, they're more likely to continue agreeing. So says the book. Begin discussions by focusing on points of common ground. This technique can build momentum and create a cooperative atmosphere. You should still encourage others to share their thoughts and ideas. This not only helps you understand their perspective, but also makes them feel valued and involved. People are more likely to support solutions they feel they have contributed to, regardless of the scale of their contributions. And people are more committed to ideas that they believe they help develop. When appropriate, guide conversations in a way that allows others to arrive at conclusions themselves. This could be more persuasive than simply presenting your own ideas. And don't forget that our goal is of making friendlies. Empathy is key to understanding and influencing others. Try to see situations from their perspective and acknowledge their feelings. This builds rapport and makes your own position more relatable, with a noted bonus of expanding your perspective. When listening to another person's ideas, show empathy and understanding for their viewpoints. This doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but recognizing their feelings can create a connection and open a door to more productive discussions. Most people like to see themselves as good and moral. Exploit that by appealing to their higher ideals and their aspirations. This can be particularly effective in persuading others as it aligns your requests with their self image. When you have to slap your thoughts on the table, make your ideas more compelling by presenting them in a vivid and interesting manner. Use stories, analogies, and visuals to illustrate your points. This can capture attention and make your message more memorable. When exaggerating, keep it just close enough to reality to make it somewhat believable. If you're in the presence of rivals or competitors, throw down a challenge. Tell them it's time to duel. Let it rip. People are often motivated by a challenge. Presenting a task as a challenge can inspire others to rise to the occasion. This techniques work well in competitive environments or when you need to motivate a team. And speaking of teams, if you lead one, you have to be able to change people without seeming combative or making others hate you. Starting with positive feedback sets a constructive tone for any discussion about changes or improvements. This approach makes others more open to hearing your suggestions and less likely to feel defensive. When problems do appear, instead of directly pointing out mistakes, use indirect methods. For example, share your own experiences with similar challenges or use questions to guide them to see the issues themselves. This helps maintain their dignity and promotes self-correction. You'll seem less overbearing and provide some extra autonomy to the situation. By acknowledging your own mistakes first, you create a sense of equality and reduce the other person's defensiveness. It shows that everyone makes mistakes and that the goal is of improvement, not to blame. And that's easy to forget. We cannot be searching for blame when problems arise. Not everyone is built the same way. And kicking people when they're already down could just make the problem or their behavior worse. Yes, those with high integrity can respond favorably, but your actions should be a catch-all, just in case you don't know what you're dealing with. Need a favor or for another to complete something for you? Ask instead of telling them first. Mix this up with children around you as well, such as could you leave a like and comment instead of making it an order. When you frame requests as questions, you give others a sense of autonomy and involvement in the decision-making process. This could be more motivating and less authoritarian, fostering cooperation. Preserving someone's dignity is crucial in maintaining positive relationships. When addressing mistakes or changes, ensure that you do so in a way that allows the person to maintain their self-respect. Frequent and sincere praise encourages continued improvement and effort. Recognize even small steps forward to motivate further progress. consistent positive reinforcement builds confidence and morale. Express confidence in their abilities and potential. By setting high expectations and showing belief in their capabilities, you motivate them to rise to the expectations and perform at their best. And a misunderstood fact is that if reinforcement works for children, it can work with a romantic partner, friend, family, and strangers alike. Belief in another will make them hang on to your every word and desire your input while you reap the benefits of your growth and growing their affection towards you. When you need to talk about improvement, emphasize that you believe in the person's ability to make the necessary changes. Frame corrections as manageable tasks rather than insurmountable problems, which can reduce anxiety and increase confidence. If they're new to an idea for growth, do the work to break down some of it for them. We want you to have people that are just as reliable as you are surrounding you, if not more so. Show how your suggestion benefits them and appeals to their motivations. When people see the personal value in a task, they're more likely to approach it with enthusiasm. Anyway, Dale Carnegie's principles from How to Win Friends and Influence People is a pretty standard suggestion, but because I randomly happened across it as my first experience with listening to a book while I was most interested in psychology, it easily lands as a forever favorite that I keep sliding back to. It offers timeless advice for building strong, positive relationships and effectively influencing others. Also powerful in raising children and particularly responsive with difficult older ones. By focusing on empathy, respect, and genuine interest in others, you can create a foundation of trust and mutual understanding. These principles are not just about achieving personal goals, but about fostering environments where everyone feels valued and motivated. By applying these techniques in your daily interactions, you can enhance your social skills, build lasting friendships, and become a more effective and influential communicator. Also, it can be used for evil. While you practice it, or even before you begin, take notice of times these tactics are used to or around you, and to what extent. These suggestions can be used to manipulate just as well as they could be used for good peer relation building. Try not to get taken advantage of with these same things, but keep them in mind. Most people may not be doing some of these things consciously. I'd say maybe don't immediately start implementing these things if you're hearing them for the first time today with people that you want lasting relationships with until after you witness it or practice some of these on people you care less about and the effects or consequences. That way, you can tweak whatever information you need to better serve your personal purposes. But anyway, what's for dinner?